Hi there, my name is Chris, but some people call me Key. I live in a small town in Central Florida and work from home full-time in IT. I started traveling at the age of 7, and as I grew up and got older, I learned that traveling is where I find my happy place. I've been to almost half of the states in America, as well as Panama and the Bahamas so far. I've taken many pictures along the way and some video. I decided to start this YouTube channel to document my travels and share them with others. I found that many of the places I like to visit are quiet, lonely places that are off the beaten path and don't see many visitors. Many are historic places, but I also enjoy the natural, weird, wacky, unique, and creepy places. While I've been to many theme parks, I generally try to avoid crowds. I found that theme parks hold very little interest for me, to be honest. I was born up north in Indiana and moved to Florida when I was 7. I was raised in Florida, but took several road trips with friends as a teenager. I went to Washington, D.C. and took a tour of the White House. I did some volunteering in Baltimore, Maryland to help inner city communities. I helped Habitat for Humanity with rebuilding Homestead near Miami after Hurricane Andrew. And I spent time on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. I went horseback riding in Tennessee and whitewater rafting in the rolling hills of North Carolina. I knew pretty early on in life that I wanted to start traveling and see the world. So fresh out of high school, I joined the United States Air Force in hopes of flying all over the world and seeing new countries. The Air Force took me to Texas, Louisiana, Panama, and Wyoming. During that time, I was able to go fishing off the coast of Panama, visit Yellowstone National Park, and take a road trip to Hollywood, California. But my favorite place to that point was Alcatraz. After the military, I bounced between Florida and Texas a little bit before settling back in Florida. Once getting settled and starting my family, it was time to start seeking new adventures. I usually travel with my son or my parents, my bestie, my pups, or any combination of those. We've taken a cruise to the Bahamas, spent a month in Puerto Rico, taken road trips to Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Indiana, Ohio, Alabama, Georgia, Key West, and Pensacola, Florida. I have many more trips planned and would like to welcome you to follow along on my adventures. The thing is, I seem to have made an enemy somewhere along the way. Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And some people even say it happens at the worst possible time. Recently, my son and I took the pups down to Key West, Florida on a road trip. When we returned, I was explaining to my good buddy what all happened on that trip, and he said, "Girl, Murphy was in your backseat the whole trip." Indeed, Murphy, who I affectionately refer to as Murph, has invited himself on many of my trips. After my friend made that comment, I got to thinking about it and realized that nearly every trip has had something happen. For instance, we got a flat tire on a bridge on the way to New Orleans with not much room to pull over and fix it. Very dangerous spot for car troubles. My ankles also swelled up so bad it made it hard to walk for the last half of the trip. There was a tour we wanted to take while we were there, but we couldn't find parking in time, so we missed the tour. On our Washington, D.C. trip, we missed out on seeing the Smithsonian because of some souvenirs we had in our bags that stopped us from getting through security. And then we were attacked by horseflies in colonial Williamsburg, Virginia. Then we had to come home a few days early because of some health issues that popped up. On our trip to Puerto Rico, I broke my ankle and ended up staying there a full month instead of just a week. And since my ankle was broken, we didn't get to see all the things we wanted to see. Boy, that was a costly trip for sure. On our way to Key West the first time, Hurricane Dorian decided to meet us there, and the gas stations ran out of gas. We got all the way to Miami and then had to turn around and come back home the next morning because there was no gas at the gas stations. On our Savannah, Georgia trip, Murph treated us fairly well. The GPS took us to a different route than I had taken before, which put us on a ferry instead of a bridge. Then we woke up on day 2 to freezing cold temperatures and had to go shopping for more clothes. But adventure. Oh, but we came home to this new outbreak turned pandemic called COVID. and couldn't travel again for a long time. On our way to Pensacola, a car blocked us into a parking spot while we were letting our dogs out, and they were looking to rob us, but we were able to scare them away, thankfully. Our hotel room that trip had a real bad roach infestation, so we woke up to our food being covered in roaches and trashed it. We won't stay there again. On our trip to Alabama, we almost hit a gray fox, or a Wendigo, or Bigfoot, or something like that. We couldn't find a park we wanted to visit, and then an entire group of ancestors turned up missing from the cemetery we visited and ruined our day, but we did eventually find them. We just missed out on a few of the places we wanted to see that trip. We also wound up on some pretty sketchy dirt roads that tried to take out the bottom of the car. On our trip to Stone Mountain, Georgia, we found that our historic Stone Mountain was turned into a theme park, which was highly disappointing. And then we got to a place we really wanted to explore, but we didn't have enough time to explore it. And then our GPS stopped talking to us on the way home, so we ended up missing a whole bunch of turns, which resulted in not seeing our stops on the entire last day of the trip. On our second attempt at Key West, Tropical Storm Debbie met us there and rode with us the entire way home. Oh, and while we were there, hours away from home, we lost the key fob to our vehicle and my son's wallet was stolen. These activities caused us to miss several of our planned stops. As if driving through the tropical storm wasn't dangerous enough, something flew up and cracked the windshield of my brand new truck on the way home. Thanks a lot, Murph. Guys, I'm telling you, this Murph guy really likes to mess with my travel. Now, I know I'm not a professional photographer or traveler by any stretch of the imagination, but if you find humor in my dumb luck and would like to live out your bad luck vicariously through me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll have a new video up soon about my visit to 3 Florida ghost towns, why I was so nervous to visit one of them, and the interesting loot I found along the way. Until then, get out of your comfort zone and explore the world around you.